I'm getting us in here. Okay. Sorry about the delay here. Chase was exposing my sickness. My name is Bobby. That's Chase. We're the Casual Hour. It is the 29th of July. This is episode 479. Apologies. We have been off unexpectedly. We ended up taking a short week last week where we didn't record the actual podcast.
I got drunk.
Chase got drunk and
it was a party.
It was a party.
It was a work party. It went a lot longer than I thought it was going to.
And we appreciate
alcohol was involved.
Well, life happens, and I love that we have a show that can allow for life to happen because this is a fun thing that we do. We certainly appreciate anybody who does set their schedule to our show, and we are apologizing for any disruptions that we have caused if you were expecting something, but it gave us more time to play some stuff. This past Monday, one of my dogs wasn't feeling the best, so I had to take him to the vet. Everything's cool there. Chase is not drunk, at least I don't think.
I wish.
So
great though.
We're gonna get drunk off video games. And speaking of drunk off video games, Chase was asking me before this. He's like, "Hey, how many handhelds do you have now?" And if you remember, I think that there was a point we did a deep dive on the Thor. Was that last month?
Was it only last month? Yeah, probably.
I'm pretty sure I made a comment. I'm like, yeah, this could end up being like a really bad rabbit hole I go down.
Oh, buddy, we already knew it was a bad rabbit hole.
And now I've got a bunch of Android-based handhelds in front of me. And I was thinking about like, I've not been like nervous to talk to you about this, but I've known I was going to be judged. And so I was trying to think about like how I would...
I've also tried to not judge that hard because I know that you're helping me with my Thor whenever I have problems. So like I can't piss Bobby off because then I get no help.
I'm just walking 10 feet in front of you. That's all.
It might be more than 10 feet, buddy. you
I have
like
definitely
yards ahead of me.
I've definitely gone down this rabbit hole. Here's what I will just say, because I could spend an entire episode talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you feel, I'm assuming here, I think that it's probably a very similar feeling that you get when you build a Gunpla.
Okay.
I look at what I'm doing right now in a similar fashion, like tinkering with these things, like building them out, putting them together, playing games is certainly on them. But what I love about PC gaming since over the last 6-7 years now has been the like customization, the building it out, the uniqueness of it to some degree. And being able to figure out like how to make all this stuff work has been really fascinating. And it's this weird little orbit of just like tinkering, and some of the stuff I'll talk about tonight reinforces like why I think this is some of the most exciting things happening in video games right now, especially when shit that's happening more like in the spotlight. Not that these aren't. We've just talked a lot about how bad things have gotten with gaming, and just this has been a really fun reprieve and like rabbit hole to go down for sure.
I will say you picked the wrong simile there, because like Gunpla is way more like your and my old Lego obsession. Like you're the man with a bunch of Legos behind you, and the idea is that you build it, you leave them up there, and then you don't touch them.
That's true.
That's what a Gunpla is to me. You should have said it's like you with the Magic the Gathering deck.
That's probably better.
You love building the deck. You can kind of care less about playing the game.
Yeah, but you do play it, and you kind of go into
I do, but
that is a good way to look at it.
I build a whole bunch of shit and then go like, well, maybe someday I'll play this.
But there's just not a really like, and I guess you could say the same thing about Magic, maybe less so. I don't really know, but like, there's a really cool community involved with it also.
Yeah, there's not cool. Nobody is cool playing Magic the Gathering, and I include myself in that. We are not a cool community. We are a community. We are not cool. But
this week especially, there's been some really cool stuff. So to get us set up for a right path here, this is a What You've Been Playing episode. As we mentioned, we have not been live really for the last 9 to 10 days. So we haven't had a chance to talk a lot about it. Chase and I have actually been playing a lot of games together, off pod and off stream. We were going to stream this on Monday. We'll probably stream it this upcoming Monday.
One game together, but we've played it a lot.
We played it a lot. So, excuse me. Tonight we've got a lot to get through. We're going to talk a bit about that Assassin's Creed Black Flag resynced that just came out. Palworld hit 1.0. We're going to talk a bit about the Thor specifically and just some of the emulation stuff I've been dabbling with. We've got some stuff that Chase has been playing. He's got a new series he's going to talk about. We've both been checking out Splatoon Raiders. That's the game that we've been spending a lot of time with. And then I think there's another game that Chase said that he was playing. I'll let him break that one out when we get into it. So not to spend a ton of time here, I will go into a specific thing about emulation this week that has been rather exciting for me. And I sent you a video clip of this one. But if you've been under a rock, there is a Pokemon Red and Blue mod that is out specifically that goes for a game that has been decompiled and recompiled. So they have...
Yeah, can you explain what that is? Because I'm still a little fuzzy on exactly what that means. I first kind of started hearing about that. Which one was that? Was that the Twilight Princess?
I think the first one you probably heard about was either A Link to the Past or Link's Awakening DX something, I believe is what they call it.
I mean, I'm sure there have been ones before the Twilight Princess one, but that's the one that felt like it was getting a lot of news. The Dusk thing. That
was the big one this year.
About those? Yeah. And so now it seems like I've been hearing about them more often. And so, like, what exactly is that process?
So these are community-driven efforts to take games that were specific to a platform. It essentially will take, like, to go back to the Legos thing here, decompiling is taking your finished Lego build. Like maybe you built a castle, and now you're going to take it and rewrite it as something else and like kind of build it out to be that. So when you talk about Twilight Princess, everybody knows that game came out on GameCube and then it was ported over to the Wii. It kind of came out at the end of life. They have made Twilight Princess able to run natively on PCs without any emulation software. You're just running it as an application. So it runs really well. You can go in and add a bunch of like system setting menus. So like you don't need to go and add a mod pack necessarily like you maybe once did.
So is it fair to call this, like, is it like a community-made port then?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So there's a ton of games that have been decompiled. They have yet to be recompiled and publicly released. So these are all open sourced. And some of the other cool things that I'll talk about here in a minute is you'll have somebody who's like, hey, like we'll use Dusk. That's a perfect example. Just a few weeks ago, we're like, oh shit, you can play Twilight Princess natively on Android, which is great for us with Android gaming devices like the Thor, because now you download the shell and they do require you to put your own ROM that you have legally dumped from your own physically owned cartridge or disc or whatever you have. Mm-hmm. And then you point it towards this, and now you can play this natively on whatever you want to.
Which is different from emulation, which is the machine, the
totally.
PC in this case. The PC is emulating or acting like a GameCube
Correct.
To be able to play Twilight Princess, and it's taking what is like the regular original Twilight Princess and just going, well, this is kind of like a GameCube, right? And then the game goes, yep, that's what it looks like to me. And that's why emulation can sometimes have some problems. It's not native in that way. Sometimes you'll get some weird.
You don't have the right region version of this. You're running an outdated version. Oh, this works on Citra, but that won't work on Azahar.
Sure.
You got to put a little effort into it. Where here, it's like, no, I just installed an APK on my Android device and now I can play it, which is really, really cool for us playing that way.
Important question. I know we're not really talking
You're
about
good.
Twilight Princess, but and we're talking about Pokemon here, which I'm more interested in talking about. But the Dusk is Link left-handed?
Link is left-handed in Dusk, which is cool.
He's left-handed in the GameCube version, and then he's right-handed in the Wii version because that's the.
So this is based off of the GameCube. you have to put a GameCube version of the ROM into it. And the other thing that is nice here is
Twilight Princess was also like we flipped the fucking dungeons. Like everything was mirrored in the Wii version versus the GameCube version. So
and then you had
which one.
They continued that. So the Wii version is the one that got the HD treatment on the Wii U also. Right. And so here, one of the things that I was kind of bummed about was like, I'd really like to replay Twilight Princess at some point, but I want the HD quality of life, like fewer seeds of life and all that shit. Well, they've turned that on this too. So you get the GameCube version with all the HD updates, quality of life shit. But to answer your question about community, one last thing I'll call out. So Dusk came out a few weeks ago. People lost their mind. Just last week, somebody did a forked version of Dusk for dual screen devices. And so now you can play Dusk on the Thor with a completely HUD-less upper screen. You can apply all the texture packs you want to it. And then your bottom screen now has a real placement map. You can assign items on the fly. Like, it's so fucking cool. And since then...
And Nintendo thinks it's cool too.
Nintendo... That's going to be a theme here. Like, Nintendo is probably scratching their head like, fuck, do people just really like our old shit that much? Like... And I think
they have to know that, right?
They have to know that. But I think this Pokemon game we're going to talk about, I'm going to be pretty bold and say, like, this is what they should have put out for the Fire Red and Leaf Green. Like, they should have done this version of what we're going to talk about.
Well, okay. Hang on here, though, because Fire Red and Leaf Green are awesome. But
no. Visually.
I know, but like visually, I also think Fire Red and Leaf Green are awesome.
I think that there's been enough. Like, I would love to see Nintendo take their swing at a 2D HD.
I agree, but I think those are two separate things.
I've been playing a lot of different things on the Thor, per usual, but a lot of this stuff. So, A Link to the Past, Minish Cap, Twilight Princess have all been given the dual screen love, which is really exciting. The one thing I'll just call out, if you are listening and you are interested in this, if you're getting into like the HD texture packs, the up-resing, and all of this stuff, do yourself a favor when you go to GitHub. That's where you're going to be directed for all this. This is my PSA. Take a look at the authors, because you need to make sure that things like ChatGPT and Claude are not listed as authors, because people are vibe coding the shit out of these things and putting them out. So, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, but what I am telling you is there's possibility and probability that is not 0%, that you could get some stuff you don't want on your devices when it's not being as regulated when it's being built. So
we're getting a lot of that in the the translation community stuff too.
Sure.
Like, hey, a new Super Robo Wars game got translated, and you're like, did it? And you're like, no, well, it was machine translated. Like, no, thank you. I'm good. I'll wait until some real localizers and passionate fans actually do the real work. I'm not gonna play this garbage. So it's happening everywhere. I fucking hate it.
All right. So what we're going to talk about here is also, like, we are not here to tell you to pirate or do anything like that. You need to get ROMs legally the way that you can. But there's a game that you and I love dearly called Pokemon Red and Blue that got a treatment from an individual named Brian the Boy, Thaboi, and they decompiled and recompiled so you can run Pokemon Red and Blue natively on, I believe, iOS. You can run it natively on Android, on your Windows machine, which is really exciting. And with that, there's a lot of cool things. You can run it full screen now. You can run it at 60 frames a second. And it's still, you can go in and you can sub out the color palette. So if you want more of like the classic original Game Boy look, if you want the Game Boy Color, if you want the Game Boy Advance, all those things. But then somebody came behind them, and you're going to see this a lot. This is a theme, like whether it's a dual screen support or some sort of like mod.
Yeah, we stand on the shoulders of giants.
We stand on the shoulders. Dramatic Shape put out what's called Dramatic Shape voxel mod for Pokemon Red and Blue. And so you download the interface and you run this as an app. And when you start it up, it says, hey, upload your ROM. And once you upload it, it's there. What's really exciting is if you have a save file, you can just apply your save file to it. So you can upload your own existing save file, which is exciting. And then there's a mod manager, so you can just add a bunch of different mods. But the one in particular has taken the internet by storm because it is a true voxel tilt shift looking, like you can even dial it up to have the Animal Crossing curved world look if you want. But it is I think a very beautiful looking take on Pokemon Red and Blue, where you are playing
brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That's what you mean.
Well, I have a really good looking version of that now where I've Dechibified.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yes, I know what you mean. So
it's just the same thing.
So from what I have experienced so far, this isn't like a ROM hack. This is just a decompiled version of Red and Blue that has a cool mod for a visual look to it. So this is just going to give you an updated version. This has also got like dynamic shadows. And again, like the lighting stuff is really cool with it. It is breathtaking to look at. I have thoroughly enjoyed going into it, but you're not going to get weird, not that Nuzlocke is weird, but there's not shit built into it that would like give you a bunch of different Pokemon. You could
totally Nuzlocke this
game. You could 100%
because it's just vanilla Pokemon, unless you're throwing more mod stuff on it that's available as well. But yes, this is just vanilla Pokemon, but with a new visual wrapper to it. But so the visual wrapper is pretty cool. Like
it's pretty cool.
It's a really neat thing to add to that game.
And if you are playing on a big screen, this can go all the way up to 4K HDR. Like you get a very modern version of this. Now you can play if you have a Switch. I think it's on Switch 2 only, or maybe it's on Switch also. The Fire Red is on Switch, right?
Yes, it's on both. Yeah.
So you have a way to play that game for $40 or $20 depending on which version you get. There's a bunch of other shit in Fire Red that you don't have in just Red and Blue here.
Buddy, if I didn't want to buy the new Star Fox for $40, I am definitely not going to buy.
Well, hey, by the way,
Pokemon Fire Red for $40 too on the.
If you are so inclined, Chase, they do have a native decompiled, recompiled with shaders and looks. Star Fox 64. Actually, that runs on Windows and Android. It runs really, really well. So you can get that too if you want.
Game already looks great. You don't need to change it.
But that's available. The community has done that. They've done it for a lot of shit. Like every week,
I'm sure
there's a bunch of cool stuff popping up. So you did say, hey, I want that. So the next time we get together, I'm going to get this all set up on your device. It is relatively simple.
I will play the decompiled Pokemon Red and Blue. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I think I even saw that you can choose yellow as well, so you can get all.
Yellow is coming. So whenever I have all three of those ROMs. I was just like, I'm going to upload all these and have them there. Yellow's coming. The other thing that seems to work, and I haven't had anybody to test this with, so you might be my guinea pig, is I believe Link Play is working on these devices. If you have that, so you could just like link up and do some stuff that way if you wanted to get some of those trades and evolutions that come with that. Or if you have somebody who's playing red and somebody playing blue, you can trade out your specific ones there. But
yeah,
it is Pokemon, which is exciting because this is back when Pokemon was really special. So that is, again, a mod by Dramatic Shapes for Brian the Boy's recompiled, decompiled version of Pokemon Red and Blue. I'm not going to talk a lot about either one of these because I want to get into the conversation with you about Splatoon, but Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is really, really good. That game still is great. I don't think this is necessarily needed, but the one thing I think that is really cool, personally speaking, is they've gotten rid of like all the Animus shit. Like you just don't do anything outside of the game any longer. Which I think this is the one that you could safely do that with, because either they're going to like retcon stuff with Desmond and like try and change that up in a way. But if it gets a little messy. So that's out of it.
Is Black Flag the one where they kind of decide that Abstergo is making video games or something? Okay.
Yep. That's like it's first person when you're outside of the Animus on that one. It looks great. It runs great. The combat changes are really cool that they added to it. There's just some really nice quality of life things here. If you missed out on Black Flag, depending on the day of the week, I go between 2 and 4. Black Flag being 4 is my favorite Assassin's Creed games. If you've never listened to the show, I'll tell you that like Assassin's Creeds are kind of like my junk food. I know that it's not good for me, but I enjoy eating it. The other thing though, I have been enjoying quite a bit, and this has been taking up more of my time than I expected it to, is Palworld 1.0.
I expected it.
Well, I was really excited, then I got bummed because they're like, hey, you can play your old save, but we've really we've changed the onboarding and the early game progression in a way. So like if you catch an early access, you would get these items to level you and your pals up if you caught 10 of the same type of pal. And so it was kind of grindy, but you got like a big XP boost when you did that. So it was always in your best interest. Like, cool, I'm going to, like, there's a bunch of them here. I'm just going to get 10 of them really quick. And then you can slaughter them or put them to work. They've lowered that down to 5 each. The base mechanics of how you can like dial in what pals do there and how they behave and not get stuck. Like 1.0 was a big update. And so I just started a whole new build, and I am up to level 35, 38, somewhere in there now. And I had 250 in-game days on the last play one. I think I'm up to like 20 some days now. So anyway, Palworld continues to be really impressive. I think that game from a survival sandbox is like one of the coolest ones, but mostly building out all these dumb devices I have, playing a lot of Palworld at night, kind of letting that idly do stuff as I'm tinkering here. And then when I'm not doing those things, and I'll pass it over to Chase here if you want to get into Splatoon now, or if you want to get into your other stuff, you can.
Yeah, why don't you let me just run through my stuff pretty quick, and then we can get to the big one.
Yeah, let's do it.
So as Bobby mentioned, I have a new series that I am playing for Chasey K Plays. It is called Super Chasey K RPG, where I am playing through Super Mario RPG for what is essentially the first time. I'm playing the remake that came out on Switch 3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's a game where I had played the Super Nintendo version one time as a kid. I remember it vividly. I was going into the rental place to try to get a copy of Yoshi's Island, which had just come out recently.
And, now that's a video game.
Absolutely, one of the best. And it was already rented out, and so I had to. Dad's there, and he's like, I don't know, fucking pick something. I don't care. I just grab a different game. Then what do you mean your game's gone? Like we made a trip. Go get a game. Okay, so I'm like around the Mario section, and it's like I haven't played this one before. What's Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars? I don't even know what that is. I don't know what an RPG is. And so I picked it up, and that's the one I rented, and I played it and had no idea what I was doing. Didn't understand RPG mechanics at that time. All I knew was that Mario doesn't jump right. Like, where's this perspective? Like, well, this isn't the video game I thought it was going to be. And so I didn't get very far, and I didn't really like it as a kid. So I just kind of stayed away from it for some reason, even after knowing that I liked RPGs now. And now they're probably my favorite genre of video game.
Yeah.
So it did make sense with this remake that came out. I thought, okay, well, this is going to be a great opportunity for me to actually play this video game. And then it came out with a bunch of other stuff that was interesting, and I, just put it on the pile and never got around to it. And I decided I'm going to get around to it. That's what Chasey K Plays has kind of been for, of being a good excuse to either go back to things that I've played before and just need a reason to play again, or a reason to play things that I should have played a long time ago. So with the Pokemon trading card ROM hack thing that I did last time done with, I thought this will be the next game I can play. So far, I'm a couple episodes in, and it's been good for the most part. I'm coming to this game with a lot of Paper Mario assumptions to it. That is my Mario RPG of choice.
I don't want to jump ahead of you here, but I was going to ask, and I'll let you finish this train of thought, but I was going to be like, what made you go to this one instead of like some of the... So I'll ask my proper question here in a second, but I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Sure, and the answer probably is like, I've played those ones. I haven't played this one, so I should play this one, right? But I'm coming into it with a lot of Paper Mario assumptions that, okay, there's going to be these kind of context sensitive, hit the button at the right time, and there is. The game doesn't immediately start with that, so I thought, oh, that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
And then it adds those things in as you play. And I went, okay, so it's kind of here. You get some of the companions. Like, I can see the bones of how this, and I know Paper Mario is not made by Square like this one is, but I can see the bones of, okay, this is setting a foundation of what a Mario RPG is, and then Paper Mario can take that and run with it, and then we get plenty of other different Mario RPGs and the Mario and Luigi series and more Paper Mario and that kind of stuff that goes further. But this has been okay. Like the writing, has some of those same kind of Paper Mario bones of, oh, this is funny. Like Mario can be funny. There's some good, interesting writing in here. Interesting is maybe the wrong word, but there's fun little writing to it. There's some good
some good characters.
Some good characters. I haven't gotten to Geno yet, but I'm aware of Geno. And
the worlds are really good too.
The design of the world, just the animation. I think the visuals of this remake look pretty good too. It's a very toyetic looking game, and I think that's pretty neat. The sound, I would say, is the part that is bugging me the most. The music is fine. The sound effects are good.
Because they redid the music, but I don't think they redid the sound effects, right?
I guess not. It's just that it's a very quiet video game, and I expected there to be a little bit more. I don't need Charles Martinet going wahoo, whatever. But like, I'm hearing nothing from Mario. I'm hearing nothing from the other characters. I'm not. It's not like I need barks exactly, but I need some kind of sound effects to make me feel like there's a fucking video game happening.
Yeah.
And mostly it is just music and a tiny little sound effect of, a punch or a hammer hitting. But it just feels...
That had to be a limitation of the time, right?
Probably. And I think I would have been much cooler with it if I was playing a Super Nintendo game. But I'm not playing a Super Nintendo game. I'm playing a Switch game, and you could add in anything that you want here. I add some sound effects, add some more flavor to this, because right now it feels extremely flat. And it's not that I'm having a bad time, but when I am recording these to then go on the internet, there's part of me that's just like, man, is this interesting to watch? Because I don't know if it's necessarily interesting as I'm playing it. I mean, I'm interested because I'm playing an RPG, but it just doesn't feel like there's enough stuff around.
The real question I have on that is, so I was going to ask you, and you're partially answering it just fine, by the way, but so just for the audience, have you played all of the Mario, the Paper Marios?
No, I have not played Super Paper Mario, the Wii one that is not as much of an RPG as it is a platformer, but I have played at least some of all the other Paper Marios. Yes.
Now, the only other one that I could have seen potentially, and I understand for a lot of reasons why you went with one you went with, but Mario and Luigi, like that series seems like one that maybe I haven't heard you talk too much about.
And I've played some of those. Like I played Superstar Saga, the original one.
Because that borrows similar mechanics, right? Like you're timing your attacks there too, right?
Yes, but having both of them there, both of the brothers, there's a lot of like, hey, Mario does stuff on the A button, Luigi does stuff on the B button, or use the different triggers to do context sensitive stuff with them. And I like that. It's interesting, but I still like the Paper Mario style a little bit more. That's kind of my sweet spot. And this game is doing some of that. It's just the context sensitive stuff isn't nearly as intuitive as it is on Paper Mario. On Paper Mario, you kind of know, okay, I'm supposed to hit the button now. Or in fact, they'll even give you prompts if you're using the hammer, where it's like red, 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 green, and you go, okay, yep, that's when I let it go. And in this game, they will tell you, they'll put like a little exclamation mark up with like hit the button now, but it's really quick. And at some point they'll go, okay, well, you know the timing now, right? And I go, I maybe, I don't know. And so I've started to get better at that, at the timing stuff, but it certainly isn't as intuitive as Paper Mario is. And that's been a little frustration too. I mean, I'm telling myself, hey, even though this is a remake, this is still based on an old video game, and there are going to be old video game mechanics, and you have to be okay with that. And so far, I still think it's a very charming video game. But my biggest problem has been that it just feels a little bit lifeless, and that's, and I think part of it is that the visuals are so bright and nice. Like obviously, we've done a lot of work to update this game for modern audiences in the way that it looks and the music and a lot of the other stuff around it. And then why didn't you update the rest of it. Like, why didn't you add a little bit more something here? Because right now I just don't feel like I'm getting a whole lot, and that's a little disappointing. And even if I think the underlying game has been pretty darn cool.
So are you doing this kind of like an hour-ish sessions?
Yeah. So I mean, this is not a particularly long game, but I could see this going 10 to 12 episodes long. So I'm going to be playing this one for a while. And I'm totally cool with that. I think it's been pretty chill. I got my first of 7 stars, so
cool.
That you can use that as a bit of progress. But I think that's a cool game. Go check. I know I gave it a ringing endorsement here, but go check out me playing that game.
You can find
Wednesday.
Chase's link in our show notes too.
Yeah, and I'll mention it again at the end of this episode. But yeah, go check that out. It's been pretty fun. I like it. Another game that I thought, hey, I should probably play this, and I don't. It's just one of those wild hair moments where I should try this, right? And I went to the eShop and it was still full price, and I went, fuck no, I am paying full price for that. And then out of nowhere, the very next day, it was like, oh, by the way, it's 50% off. Oh, fuck, okay, now I got to play it. It's another Square game. This one, Bobby, tell me if you remember this one, the Diofield Chronicle.
Why does that sound so familiar?
This is the one that when we saw the trailer for it initially, we thought, oh, it's like a remake of Final Fantasy Tactics. And then it's a real-time strategy RPG. And we went, oh, that's not Final Fantasy Tactics at all.
This is a $60 game, by the way.
Yeah, well, not to me. I didn't pay $60. I paid half price. But this is a game I remember playing the demo of and thinking it was kind of interesting, but maybe not all there. And then I remember hearing people go, man, this game is slow. The text is really small. It's not as cool as you might think it is. And I went, okay, I don't need to play this game. And then dropped it for a while and never bought the full price game. And thought, yeah, no big deal. I don't have to play that. And then I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just, hey, I want to play a Fire Emblem kind of game, but I don't want to play a Fire Emblem game because I know Fortune's Weave is just about to come out, and I've been playing a bunch of Fire Emblem games recently, but I still want to play something, swords and knights and stuff like that. I could go back to actual Final Fantasy Tactics, which I didn't finish, and I was like, I could do that, but that's a game where I'd have to kind of get caught back up on what I was doing. I kind of just want to play a little bit of a new thing. And Bobby could easily say, well, why didn't you play Dragon Quest VII, the game that you already owned?
That's not the game I'm thinking of. That's not the game I'm thinking of.
I'm sure.
But I am thinking of a Square game, though.
Okay, what game were you thinking?
The one that was on Apple Arcade that got uncaged and actually.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I can Fantasia.
It's not Fantasia, right? But
Fantasian. Yeah.
Fantasian.
Because they're Asian. That's why.
Yes. No, that's on the Switch now,
why,
right?
But that is what it's called. Yeah, and I own that. And I've played some of it on Switch. I could have played that too. Yeah, you're right. There's so many things I could have done. But I said, you know what? I kind of want to play Diofield Chronicle. So I did. And you know what? I think it might be better than some people say.
It's getting dragged online. People really don't like this thing.
Dragged. It's been out for a while.
No, I mean there's recent reviews on Steam. I think they had like a discount or something on it.
Okay, maybe. I was like,
anywho,
who the fuck else is playing this game? It's okay. I think there are some kind of cool things. It also, similar to Super Mario RPG, feels a little flat. I wish there was more voice acting to it. I wish the characters weren't shown from so far away that you really got no sense of any of the characters. I wish the upgrading system was a little more comprehensible. But there is something kind of cool about playing an RTS RPG in this way that has a Square type look to it and has some of those sensibilities. I think that's interesting. And I'm glad Square tried something like this, even if it didn't necessarily work out, because I do like some of the character designs. I do like some of this completely incomprehensible
story. You're going to get that this year in October. Probably.
Yeah, I know.
Around your birthday, I would bet.
Probably, yeah. I'll get some of that stuff. This was just like, hey, I thought I would try this, and it ended up being.
What did you say? You're playing on the Switch, right? It was on sale in the eShop.
I'm playing this on the Switch too, and
okay.
It runs fine there. It's not that big of a
deal. Is the text too small on the Switch?
I haven't been playing it in handheld mode. I would say on the TV, it's perfectly fine to me. I guess it looks a little small, but it's not. It hasn't been a huge deal. I think there's some interesting stuff with the tactics that go into that. I like some of the abilities that you get. Like the whole game is based on this. If you can attack from behind, you get way more damage. You get to like get critical hits or do double damage when you're hitting from behind. And so the question is, okay, how do I get my guys behind the enemy? How do I? So you've got like, hey, here's the one with the sword and board. So I'm gonna have them kite the enemy to come up here, and then I have to get my other guys and sweep around behind them. Or one of the cool things, you get this paladin knight guy who's riding a horse, and he's got a move where he can just smash right through the enemy, and it just like speeds him through, like it's a dash kind of move, and it hits the enemy and does some damage. But then when the dash is over, he's on the other side of the enemy. So if I got the sword and board person already, drawing the aggro, I can have him just run up and go through, or fuck the sword and board person. I just have him go up to begin with and dash through, and now they turn around to go hit the knight guy, and now all my other guys who are much slower because they're not on horses, they come in and they start doing damage from the back. So there has been some pretty cool tactical stuff that's gone on there, and there have also been some missions that make you start to split the party and go, okay, well, I need these two characters over here, but there's some zombie guys over here that I got to go fight as well. And I think there is a pretty decent division of the labor of how you make an RTS work. And RTSs are like, that's a genre that kind of only works on PC most of the time. But I think they've done an admirable job of trying to put this on a console. There are not a whole lot of console RTS games that are around at all, and the ones that are there aren't necessarily good. Like it was what was the Halo one? There was a Halo Wars.
Wasn't it just Halo Wars?
Yeah, Halo Wars, and I think they made a second Halo Wars as well. I will always stand for Warlocked on the Game Boy Color, which is a very bad RTS that I love with my entire fucking heart. Imagine trying to play an RTS on a Game Boy Color. It's beautiful. And
Chase, Kunitsigama is right over there waiting on you with open arms. That's a fucking video game, man.
I played the demo of that too, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like I could easily go to that. I don't think I'm going to keep playing Diofield Chronicle very much longer, but I will say the parts that I've played have been kind of fun. I do like some of the systems that are in there. I could see myself playing more if I didn't have a bunch of other cool games that either just came out or are coming out in the coming months. But there are, so I guess Diofield Chronicle was just kind of this little flight of fancy, and I got it out of my system. But yeah, I'm glad I played it.
Yeah, totally. Have you gotten Splatoon out of your system?
Fuck no, man. I saw credits today.
Oh, you did?
No. Yeah, well, yeah, but like that game also has a giant post game to it. So,
does it? Okay.
Yeah. So I hit credits and I was like, "Yep, let's keep on going."
Nice. Okay, so you are. I mean, the last time I played it was beside you, so
yeah.
I don't think I have a feeling I'm not too far away from credits.
No, yeah, you've got. I mean, if you really stuck to it, you probably have like 2, maybe 3 hours until you get to the credits. But again, that is not the story of the video game. Is not the video game.
Yeah, totally. Like the stories, whatever.
Yeah, let's back it up for the people. If you've played Splatoon before, if you haven't played Splatoon before, actually, that's probably better. Splatoon started on the Wii. Yes.
Yeah, when was the
Wii U.
first
Wii U?
Splatoon out?
I think it was Wii U.
Hang on.
Okay. Almost positive it's Wii U, but
Splatoon came out May 28th, 2015 in Japan, and May 29th in North America. So that would have been 2015. That's Wii U, right?
I think so.
Yep.
So the Splatoon, the whole idea, this was a multiplayer only game, or at least a multiplayer first video game for the first Splatoon. And the idea was this was Nintendo's take on a shooter. Like it wasn't a first person shooter, it was a third person thing, but instead of bullets, because we are Nintendo, we want to be a little fluffier than that, or in this case, slimier than that.
Wetter.
The idea here is that you were playing as Inklings, which were kind of squid-like creatures, and they shot ink out of like little squirt bottles and things like that. And the idea was that, yes, while it is a shooter and you're trying to shoot the opponents in these multiplayer arenas, what you're really trying to do, and the way that you win one of these matches, is by putting more ink on the ground of your color than the opponent, who is covering up your ink with their ink. So it is that kind of tug of war match. Yeah, absolutely. But you do still attack the other players, because if they have to respawn, that's more time that they're not inking the field. So that's where that game kind of started. And we got a sequel, Splatoon 2, which added in this side mode called Salmon Run. And Salmon Run was a horde mode where now you're playing against these salmonids, which were these like giant orange crusty fish monsters that were trying to attack you. And so that was a pretty popular thing. Splatoon 2 also added a single player mode, which I think was relatively popular. And then Splatoon 3 added on more of those things. And so now we've gotten this game called Splatoon Raiders, which just came out on the Switch 2. Is it Switch and Switch 2 or just Switch 2?
Just Switch 2.
Okay.
I'm almost positive. I might be wrong, though.
Okay. Well, now that this game is out, and this is kind of like Splatoon has gone complete opposite from where they started. Like, that started as a multiplayer only game, and this is not exactly a single player only game, but it is a story mode only video game.
I think it is Switch 2 only.
Okay. So this game is all based around a story mode, and it is all semi-based around the Salmon Run stuff. So it's not complete horde mode stuff. You're still going. There are a number of different level types that you're going through, but you're all attacking the salmonids, which are the main enemies in the game. So this game has a single player mode, but also has a I would say one of the better online experiences that I've ever
had it's just like
from a Nintendo game.
Make a room. That's really it.
I've had issues connecting to you for some reason, but you haven't had any had any trouble connecting to me. And this game also has it has matchmaking, kind of like you can offer your services,
like to help people
with somebody else,
or you can request help too, right?
You can request for help too.
Have you done that?
I have. I do it a lot, because you can request for help, but then it puts you on like a half-hour timeout, I guess, of like, hey, we don't want you to abuse this, so we'll give you a half hour, and then you can ask for help in another half hour. But you can also go help somebody, and when you go help somebody, you will get a big bonus of like a bunch of extra materials. But then I think it is like another half hour also, where it's like, hey, you can still go help people, go for it, but you just won't get the big bonus for doing it. So they do try to incentivize you to try those things. So that is always kind of like what I do at the beginning of a session, and at the end of a session, I will go, okay, I'm going to go help. I'm going to get my big bonus. I'm going to ask for help on one of these things and just play with a bunch of people, because that's generally more fun. And then I'll play a bunch by myself, and then at the end, I'll do a go help and help me, and then I can call it a day. That's kind of been my loop for doing this. But the idea here is that there are these discrete different mission types. There is, just a general like, hey, get to the end of the level and use your drill thing to go get more of these materials. The story is that you've gone to these what they call the Spiralite Islands, where all the salmonids are living, and there's some kind of mystery, and you're treasure hunting, and you got Metal Gear Solid V'd at the beginning,
sure,
where you're like the pilot of this helicopter, and then you're the one who's basically going on all the missions, but you have these three idiots with you, who I think are from Splatoon 3. I think
they are from 3. By the way, this is $50. I don't think we said that.
I don't think we have either, but yeah, it is a little cheaper than a normal video game. But there's a lot of fucking video game there.
There's a lot of video game there.
So you have these different missions. One is like get to the end. One is like, here's like this giant arena, and you just kind of keep going from node to node and taking out enemies until you get a right threshold of resources before you can end the level. There are puzzly style challenge levels where it's either, hey, here's like a really small arena with a ton of enemies on it, or here is a race that you have to do. Fuck the race. There's like a couple of races in this game, and they're both fucking terrible. But you can do them, I guess. Some other kind of like more puzzly ones where, hey, we're gonna put you in different sets of equipment. We're gonna take away the builds that you have, and we're gonna give you a very set build, and we're gonna have you learn how this build works as you play the video game. And then they have these bigger raids, which are going through multiple stages to get to a boss fight. Those are kind of the general missions that they give you, but they do variations on those missions as you play the game. And then each time you do one of those, you then go back to this kind of floating barge island thing. And you can work on your build, you can work on your headquarters, you can make all these little tweaks to how your character looks and what weapons and equipment you use, and also what stuff's around your base. Is that about right? And did I miss anything, Bobby?
You didn't miss anything. I do have a question. Listening to you talk about this, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know why we didn't talk about this earlier. Do you think Nintendo has hopes that this brings people to Splatoon 2, 3, whatever it may be?
Maybe. And I will say, I think it might be kind of working, because I'm a person who saw the original Splatoon and went, that's not really for me. I do play shooters, but I'm not playing Nintendo shooter. That doesn't sound like my cup of tea, especially an online only video game. No thanks. Splatoon 2, when it mentioned that, hey, we have a story mode now, and there's more like adventure elements to it, I was like, okay, let's try Splatoon 2. I heard Splatoon 1 was a pretty big deal and people really liked it. Let's try this one now that there's a single player mode. And it was okay. I didn't love it. I really didn't love using the gamepad to like use the motion control stuff.
No
that all felt fucking terrible to me. I know that it's supposedly more precise, but it just felt anathema to what I want from a video game. And so then I didn't play Splatoon 3 either, because it was like, yeah, I played Splatoon, it was fine, but I'm good. And this one, I didn't think was going to be a game that I cared about. I was like, yeah, again, I've played Splatoon, it was fine, but I don't need any more of that. But I think the focus on a single player or a campaign rather, the focus on a campaign, the ability to play it co-op with friends, but to not have the traditional Splatoon multiplayer mode attached to the video game, did make me think like, oh, well, if they're putting this as like a main focus, I kind of wonder what's going to be in here. And I'm really glad I did, because I got to say, Bobby, and I think you're feeling similarly, I think this game fucking rules.
Yeah, it's a really cool game. It's been nice having something to play with you for sure, but I'm with you. Like I was always, when I've played Splatoon 2 and 3, I've not played Splatoon, and Johnny and I played quite a bit together, and it was more of just like a thing to do with somebody. But they had a mission, like you can go do missions to like get shit for the actual events, which I really liked in Splatoon 3. But I was just always like, I don't want to play a PvP game. Like this game is really cool. I like the movement. I think it's pretty inventive on all the weapons and how, like, I could easily see, oh, I'm a roller, because I'm just gonna I'm gonna focus on like covering as much as I can, while Johnny was way more aggressive. He's like, I'm gonna go paint people. I'm like, go for it.
There is like do you remember Oddworld Stranger's Wrath?
I've never played it, but I'm familiar with it.
Well, that was a game that was also like, hey, we're a first-person shooter, but it's different than the kinds that you know. And a lot of it was the arsenal that you had, that you're shooting these little animals and bugs and things, instead of having traditional weapons. And Splatoon feels a little bit like that to me as well. Like, I don't just, if I'm playing a shooter game, a Call of Duty or whatever, like, okay, a rocket launcher and a sniper rifle and a shotgun and an assault rifle. Like, I understand the classes of weapons and how they work and where I'd want to use them in different forms of combat. Now, Splatoon goes, well, we kind of have that, but it's a little bit different. Like, we have what we call dualies, and those are like little submachine guns, but they don't exactly function like submachine guns. They do still you're still launching ink, so everything has an arc to it. Here's a gun that has it's like an olive oil bottle, and it can shoot further range, but it still is just kind of shooting further range of these ink blats. Or as you mentioned, the roller, which is kind of not exactly a melee weapon, but it is like a close range weapon.
Yeah, it's
but
definitely.
As you said, it can also just like roll on the ground and be this kind of melee dash weapon almost that you can run into enemies
sure.
and bash them with it. But there's so many other types of weapons here that don't neatly fit into weapon archetypes that you'd know. I had like 3 different weapons that I got when you first started playing the video game and you're collecting new weapons, and I didn't know all the different kinds of Splatoon weapons. And I'm like, oh, this is like the shotgun equivalent because I got the parasol. And then after playing with that, I was like, I don't, maybe it's not the shotgun equivalent. I got the roller. I was like, well, this is the shotgun equivalent. Like, yeah. I'm really close. And then I was like, I don't think that one's it either. No. Is there a shotgun equivalent in this game? I don't know. Maybe there's a sword that kind of works like it, but also not.
I think
it's been fun kind of seeing how things might fit or don't fit these traditional ideas that you have of what a shooter is.
I think you've covered it systemically very well. I'm having a great time with it. It's certainly been a very like exciting thing to get into. For me, I might be an outlier here. Maybe I'm just a weirdo, but I see so much DNA between this game and Deep Rock Galactic, and even I think like Diablo 3 and 4 quite a bit. Where you're going out, you're going to like do some quick hits. You're going to get stuff to come back and kind of upgrade and tinker with. Like you can do a build if you want. Like I think the loot progression especially has a lot of Diablo-esque to it where, that's a high praise. Like I think that those are really cool for what that is. But Deep Rock especially, it's like you've got 3 or 4 different mission types that you're going to do. You're going to get stuff that you can bring back to upgrade if you're playing the scout or whatever it might be. I'll applaud one other thing on it. You and I were texting each other when it first came out, and you're like, what pack did you pick? And I'm like, well, what do you think I got? And you kind of gave me a funny, like, you're a power guy for this or that. And I was like locked in at that time. I'm like, no, I'm technical. Like that's how I want to play it. I played a very drone heavy build on the Division. It reminded me of that quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But then the game was just like, hey, actually, we're going to force you to not force you. That's being too direct.
Well, and sometimes they do. Like
like
there are those missions. There are those missions that I mentioned where
the compass ones,
force
right?
you to have a very specific ones. Yeah, where they're kind of teaching you things. But also, this is a game. This is not Destiny. This is not a game where I go, oh, I am a hunter.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm playing the hunter stuff, and I can change classes within the hunter, but I'm playing as a hunter. That's my character. That is not the case here. You are encouraged to swap tanks each time.
It's like Monster Hunter in a way.
Yeah. Well, even Monster Hunter feels like a game like, oh, I play the hammer.
You find your main.
I've chosen to play hammer. I'm going to continue down the hammer path. And you could, if you wanted to, switch to dual blades or whatever, but you're kind of starting back from square one if you do that, and you're learning a whole new video game. That's not Splatoon. Like, it is really easy, and again, encouraged to swap between the speed, power, and I think it's actually tactical. Maybe it's technical. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because you can change just like presets. Like you can have all those dialed in just on the fly. Switch over to it when you're back at your base.
Yeah, and the idea is that you can power up these packs, and at one point you power it up and it goes, okay, well now you need to power it up even more to its final form. You need so many resources you need to get so many defeats or whatever with playing the pack that you're on, but you also need to get a bunch of defeats with this other pack. So it's even telling you cannot progress further with this thing unless you at least try out the other one. Yeah. And they're all easy enough to switch into. It doesn't take any time. You don't really lose anything by switching to any other packs. But that was a bit of a disappointment. I think it continues to be a bit of a disappointment in this game. Maybe my only real disappointment is that I do not really feel so far, and I'm getting closer to it. I will say the end game and post game gets me closer, but this is not a game so far that I've really felt like I have a lot of different builds that I can get into. It does kind of feel like I kind of just choose the same couple things, and I can switch my pack, and the packs have different, they call them gadgets, but they're like sub weapons that you can use. So there are some choices that you'll get to make eventually of, oh, I want to use the spinning top and the punch thing with the power pack, and you'll go, oh well, I'm actually going to use this axe thing and this other one with for the power pack. So our builds are a little bit different, but they still feel pretty samey. You know, any class can use any type of weapon. It doesn't seem like, you know, at least in Destiny, it felt like, hey, hunters are really good with hand cannons. We have specific pieces of equipment that go, this is a hand cannon piece of equipment, and hunters are the only ones who can equip this type of equipment. So you're naturally going to want to use hand cannons more. And this game doesn't have that. It doesn't. It has some stuff of like, oh, the technical or tactical pack gives you some specific things that say you like long range, so maybe you should try playing more long range weapons. But it kind of doesn't matter. It seems like I felt like there's not, despite the game having customization, I don't feel like I'm really making meaningful customization choices in
it's
both.
more of a preference. Like, I just enjoy this.
Yeah, but like I haven't really felt the difference within the mechanical choices, and I really don't feel it from the aesthetic choices, which feels fucking wild to me because Splatoon has always felt like a game that was built on style and the urban outfits that are here, and
like why wouldn't you have something with that?
And they do have, you know, 5 hairstyles or whatever that you can play with if you choose. I wouldn't even call them boy inklings or girl inklings, but they do kind of have 2 different styles that I suppose could be construed as genders, and they have different hairstyle options for them. And then there's a bunch of outfits that are unlockable, but it's not customizable in the way that I remember Splatoon 2 being customizable. I felt like I was getting more different pieces, and I was really proud of how my inkling looked. And this one is just kind of like, I don't know, I chose that outfit. It doesn't really look all that different from these other outfits. So many of them are just palette swaps. And none of that shit feels interesting to me. And I'll tell you what really pissed me off. I know we're kind of over time here, but when you start the video game and you get Metal Gear Solid VEED, when your inkling kind of, they say like a couple months later happens, and then you see your inkling, who's known as the mechanic. They kind of get first revealed, and that's when you get to choose what your character looks like. And they've got this kind of basic outfit on, and their octopus tendrils are just hair is just kind of falling down in their face. And I go, okay, well, you know, I'm choosing. They give you 4 options, and I guess 2 of them are supposed to be one quote unquote gender and the other one's the other gender. But even within those, there's 2 options, and it's like, what's the difference?
There's not. Like I was going to say,
your eyebrow, maybe.
Like I feel like it is very androgynous on like what you're playing as, and probably
and I
by
think that's
design.
Totally cool. Like I'm fine with that.
I have no issues with it, but it's very confusing to even present choice when there isn't seemingly one. Like the voice isn't even like that different, and it's just like, okay, but also like this is a pretty generic custom build. Like I would have much rather, I think, just had it been like, hey, here is the mechanic. You're just playing the mechanic. That like I don't know. I
like
don't know.
Like just give me one character, because again, like it's not like, oh, here's like a tall body, here's a short body, here's like a fat body or thin body. There's no choices like that. It's here's 2 technically male coded, I guess, and 2 technically female coded, and I cannot tell you what the difference is between the male and the male or the female and the female, because they still just give you all the different hair options. I kind of just wish they'd say, here's a selection of hair options, here's a selection of outfits, that's your starter, go with God.
Yeah, do your thing.
You know, keep it androgynous. But I'll say the thing that pissed me off the most is the first option. Like when you first see your character, you go, oh, you know, I kind of like this, and they give you a couple of those different options, and they have different hair. And I really liked that starting hair with like the longer octopus tentacles coming down in my face. I thought that was cool. And then you select which one you want, and they give you like a complete new hairstyle, and that original hairstyle is nowhere to be found in your options. I know.
You can't get it.
What the fuck?
I know. It's so dumb.
Good news, Bobby. When you beat the game, you get it.
Yeah.
You get it.
Oh, you do?
they give you your starting outfit and they give you your starting hair at the end. So I have now completely switched to that. But still, that's the only new hair option you get for the whole game, to my knowledge. And it just feels like, man, what a missed opportunity for a game series, a franchise that's all about individualism and choosing, customizing your look and having all this personality. And you just don't get that in the character creation here. And I think that's a real bummer, because it's a game that's about like meeting up with friends or co-oping with somebody else. And I'd really like to show off what my character looks like, and I'd really like to have my specific ink color, but they don't do that. I guess that's more of a mechanical thing where they want to keep everybody with the same ink color. I guess I understand that, but it does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity. That's a game that's all about fashion, or a game series that's been all about fashion.
Controlled fashion.
Yeah, we just kind of don't care about it on this one. That's really lame, I think.
It is lame. But the game overall, very much not lame.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
I am pretty darn addicted to it. I found myself going, okay, well, I'm just going to play one more. And then I play like 5 more missions, and I went, oh, fuck, I was supposed to be done.
You did that thing.
But if I only play a couple more minutes, then my go help box is going to show back up again, and then I can go play that. Then I can call it a night. Oh, fuck. Well, now I can call for help, and I can get people back there. So I should do that. Oh, I'm so close to just one more level up, and then I can get another skill point. I could just play the one more then. Oh, I got this new weapon from that last raid. I want to try that one out. That one seems pretty cool. And then you just like, fuck, I've been playing this game for
You're
many
the
more
sicko
hours than
now.
I was supposed to. Oh yeah. It is nice to out sicko you in something. Like, you like this game, but you and I get on for like an hour, and you're like, yeah, let's play for an hour. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then an hour's up, and you go, okay, I think I'm gonna go to bed now. I'm like, yeah, I think I am too. And then you leave, and I play for another 2 hours. And I go, this
sick.
is
I just leave. I don't sleep. I just build Android fleets out.
We have a process to bear.
We have been playing quite a bit, and we will continue to play quite a bit here at the show. We'll be back on Monday to show off this game. We're going to definitely, that's the plan. Life happens, but we plan on being here on Monday with Splatoon Raiders. If you want to follow along with all the cool stuff that we do, you can go right there in our chat. We've been a little sporadic the last few weeks with just life and other things, but we are here. We're doing well and having fun all the while. Chase, you teased some stuff out earlier. Why don't you tell the folks where they can eat if they are so hungry?
Okay. Well, I've got quite the buffet for
you
folks
do.
Out there. Like I mentioned before, Chase K Plays is where my YouTube channel is, where I play through other video games. Right now, I'm a couple episodes in to Super Chase K RPG, where I'm playing through Super Mario RPG, the remake. Bobby P's over there gave me some sweet thumbnail art, so thank you, Bobby, for that. Looks
Not
great.
A problem.
So check out that series. I also have another podcast that I do with a good friend of our show, Pierce Corshane. It's called Pilot Program, where Pierce and I watch the first episodes of every television show ever made. Our newest episode came out this last weekend, I believe, and that was on Dragon Ball. That was our 50th episode. Nice to hit a big round number like that. That's
hell yeah,
exciting. And I think we had a really good time talking about Dragon Ball. It is not necessarily this episode is not necessarily fantastic, but I think there's a lot of interesting stuff. As Pierce was somebody who watched a little bit of Dragon Ball Z on Toonami growing up, and I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z when I got the opportunity, but neither of us had seen Dragon Ball. I know plenty of stuff that happens in Dragon Ball. He did not, so I was kind of able to Sherpa him through some of the, hey, and this is why this works there, and this is who that person is, or this person eventually shows up. But the episode itself was this kind of nice little tight package, and we had a really good time talking about it, and talking about Japanese gag manga and some more like Japanese tradition stuff. We were talking about there's like an eye catch in the middle where Goku is spinning Dragon Balls on a parasol. And Pierce is like, what's doing with that? And it's like, oh, it's actually a traditional form of Japanese juggling, and could show him some videos with that. And you're like, oh, that's really rad that they're bringing in some of these references to a show like that. So that was we had a fun culture talk about some of that, as well as also talking about why Japan is obsessed with panties and whatever. So you take some,
you win some, you lose some.
Exactly. But we had a really good time with that. So go check that out. And we've also announced that our next episode, we don't know when our next episode is going to be, but when we do it, we are going to be watching Andor, which is a show that I like. It's not that I think Andor is bad, as Bobby has heard many times before, because it's happening with Microsoft as well. Disney Plus is on the BDS list. So I would suggest that if you want to watch Andor along with us, that you go find a DVD copy, which there is, of Andor Season 1, or you find another way of watching it. Andor Season 2, I believe, is only on Disney Plus, so that one's harder to recommend to anybody, since that is specifically on the BDS list. But there are other ways of seeing Andor Season 1, seeing this first episode of Andor, so we are going to cover it for the show. And we'll get to talk about Star Wars. I cannot believe we talked about Star Trek before Star Wars. That sounds wrong to me. But we're gonna finally talk about Star Wars. Officially. We unofficially talk about Star Wars all the time because it's so everywhere. But we're talking about Star Wars for real this time. So Andor Episode 1, come check that out when we do it. So that'll be fun.
Hell yeah. Well, Chase, thanks for the chat tonight. Thanks for all the offline playing of Splatoon. We'll be online playing that on Monday. We'll see you all then. Thanks, everybody.